Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm nazzala aulia rahmah and I will be explaining about gerund and to infinitive. But before we jump into the material, I would like to mention about what will be covered of today's discussion. The first that will be discussed is about the definition of gerund and to infinitive. The second is about its structure. The third is about the examples, and the fourth is the common verb of gerund and to infinitive. The first is about the definition of gerund and to infinitive. Okay, let's talk about the differences and the similarities between gerund and to infinitive. The similarities are both of gerund and to infinitive are a verb that is changed to be a noun, and the differences is how we change it is different. If we want to change a verb to be a noun with gerund, we have to change it by adding ing at the end of the verb. But if it's to infinitive, we don't have to change the verb, but we have to change we have to add to before the verb. The next is about the structure of gerund and to infinitive. So, as I mentioned before, if you want to change a verb to be a noun, there are two ways to do that. The first is change it into a gerund, which is just add ing at the end of the verb, or change it into to infinitive, which is add to before the verb itself. The third is about the examples of gerund and to infinitive based on its function. Here is the examples of gerund based on its position. So, there are gerund as a subject, gerund as an object, gerund as an object of preposition, and gerund after a certain verb. I will be reading the examples for every position. The first, as a subject, is reading comic is my hobby. As we know, read is a verb, but because we add some ing at the end of the verb, so it becomes a gerund. Gerund means a noun, and in this case, this reading is a noun as a subject. And the second is gerund as an object. For example, I like reading comic in my free time. I like reading. The rules is still the same, just like before. Just add the verb, just add ing at the end of the verb, and put this word in a position that you would like to. For example, in this case, I put it as an object, so it was at the end, it was put after the verb. And the next is gerund as an object of preposition. I'm interested in reading action comic. Why is it object of preposition? Because this gerund is put right after the preposition, which is in. And the last is gerund after a certain verb. I just finished reading a comic. Gerund after a certain verb means that it's just a certain verb, like it cannot be any word, but it's just some special verb that can be put before the gerund itself. We will be discuss about that after this one. So the next is about the examples of to infinitive based on its position. There are four parts of it. The first is to infinitive as a subject, as an object, as an adverb, and to infinitive after certain verb. will be discussed about the first one, which is to infinitive as a subject. The example is, to go to Japan is my dream. As we can see, this to go is put in the beginning of the sentence. So the position of this to infinitive is as a subject. And the next is to infinitive as an object. My dream is to go to Japan. How do we know that this is put as an object? It is because my dream is to go to Japan. This is in this sentence is the to be, which is the verb of the sentence. And as we know, object is put after the verb. So this to go, which is the position is after the verb, is the object itself. And the next, to infinitive as an adverb. I will save up money to go to Japan. If we analyze this sentence, I is the subject, will save up is the verb, money is the object, and after that means it is an adverb. This to go to Japan is the adverb, but this adverb is using to infinitive. And the last is to infinitive after a certain verb. I plan to go to Japan next year. This is called certain verb because this verb plan just can be put before to infinitive. I cannot say it like I plan going to Japan next year because this verb, this plan verb, just can be put before to infinitive. Later, after this, I will be discuss about the common verb that can be put before gerund, before to infinitive, and the verb that can be put both before. That can be put both before gerund and to infinitive. The fourth is about the common verb for gerund and for to infinitive, and also the common verb that can be used for both gerund and to infinitive. Here is some words that can be used before gerund. For example, enjoy, appreciate, avoid, keep, stop, quit, finish, mention, suggest, and discuss. I'll give the sentence for this word. For example, I enjoy watching the movie, or I avoid meeting him, or I stop smoking this year, or I finish doing my homework, and etc. And here is some verbs that can be used before to infinitive. The first is hope to, and plan to, intend to, decide to, agree to, offer to, refuse to, ask to, expect to, and promise to. I'll be giving some examples of the sentence. For example, I promise to treat him dinner tonight, or I expect to hear some good news from you, or I agree to come to her house today, or I plan to move to another country this year. And the last, this is some verbs that can be used both before gerund or before to infinitive. It is begin, start, continue, like, love, forever, hate, can't stand and can't bear. I'll give some example of the sentence. For example, it began to rain. With it began raining, it has the same meaning and there is no mistakes in both of the sentence. Or I continue watching the movie and I continue to watch the movie, also both correct. Another one, for example, I hate to eat tofu. With I hate eating tofu also have the same meaning. I think that's all from me. I'm sorry if there's still a lot of flaws and mistakes. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.